A park built on top of a cemetery, spirits that haunt one of the most historic hotels in Colorado, a ghostly apparition that plays slots at a casino even when it's closed. These are all unexplained reports of Colorado's most haunted places. With a history steeped in gold rushes and ghost towns, you could say that all the spooky things that happen here are just paranormal. Ghost sightings and haunted stories are reported at numerous locations across the state, both indoors and out. Here are the most haunted places in Colorado, ranging from century-old mining towns and haunted casinos to spooky mansions. Number 7. Cheesman Park in Capitol Hill. In the popular Denver neighborhood of Capitol Hill, you'll find a beautiful city park called Cheesman Park. It's a great spot for walking, jogging, picnicking, and enjoying the sounds of the city. However, the park was originally built on top of a cemetery known as Mount Prospect Graveyard. In the late 1800s, the graveyard was turned into a park, but not all the bodies were relocated, like they couldn't think of anywhere else to put the park. And many believe there are still lots of human remains buried beneath the park today. In fact, Cheesman Park was the inspiration for the movie Poltergeist, turning it into one of the most haunted places in Colorado. Many of the nearby mansions and houses are said to be haunted with the spirits of people who were buried at the cemetery decades ago. And many people have reported having ghostly experiences or even seeing apparitions that were walking the park at night. So the fact that the haunted Cheesman Park sits within the haunted Capitol Hill neighborhood doubles down on the spookiness and makes this one of the most haunted places in Denver. Number 6. Hotel Colorado. In the heart of Glenwood Springs, you'll find the beautiful and spacious Hotel Colorado. Historical figures such as Teddy Roosevelt, William Howard Taft, and the unsinkable Molly Brown have all been guests of Hotel Colorado. Over the decades, however, this gorgeous hotel has gained a reputation for being haunted thanks to ghost stories and strange happenings. During the time of World War II, more than 500 wounded soldiers were housed here, and giant ovens deep in the basement of the hotel were used to cremate those who didn't survive. With the horrors that were seen by soldiers during the war, and then topped with the quintessential Wild West origins of this hotel, it's easy to understand how this place could be haunted. Many people who stay at the hotel have said that they heard strange noises, like women wailing, or even saw random objects moving on their own. Other paranormal activity that's often reported include apparitions and ghost sightings. Today, you can take a self-guided tour through the hotel to check out some of the rooms with the original furnishings, clothing, and books from that time period. Number 5. Museum of Colorado Prisons. The Museum of Colorado Prisons in Canyon City is truly authentic. Built in 1872, this prison-turned-museum shares a wall, including armed towers, with a prison that has been continuously in operation since even before Colorado was a state. This just adds to the genuine feel and validity of a museum such as this. Many of the exhibits are literal jail cells, dining halls, and archive storage that were used for nearly a century and a half. Not to mention, this prison was the original state penitentiary, was the site of Colorado's death row, and has seen a few prison riots. Prisoners housed here from many decades ago claim to hear voices from their cells in the middle of the night, and nowadays, museum patrons claim that exact same thing from inside those same cells. They have even spotted disembodied orbs floating between cells and inexplicable scents and chills that are said to accompany the supernatural. It's not uncommon to spot an all-night ghost tour event on the calendar at the Museum of Colorado Prisons. Join these special events to get to work with experts, learn modern techniques, and use the latest equipment in capturing proof of the paranormal, only if you dare. Number 4. Central City Masonic Cemetery. Cemeteries. I mean, there isn't really a better place to find some ghosts, and no list of the most haunted places in Colorado is complete without mentioning a spooky cemetery. The Central City Masonic Cemetery, near the town of Central City in Black Hawk, was once referred to as the richest square mile on Earth. The town existed before gold was found in the area in 1859, but within a single year, by 1860, the population had swelled to over 10,000 residents. Today, the Masonic Cemetery sits above the city and might be a great place for some sightseeing if it weren't for that creepy vibe. Twice a year, the graveyard is said to be visited by the Lady in Black. She comes to the Hilltop Cemetery to visit the grave of a past prominent resident of the city who died in 1884. In April and November, it is said that she appears to lay flowers on the grave of a certain John Edward Cameron. Keep your eyes and ears open for strange sounds and sights of the past residents that are still said to walk these grounds. And if the cemetery wasn't scary enough, Central City is said to be haunted with its own ghosts and specters from the past. The town itself is already a hotbed for paranormal activity, putting it high on the list of most haunted places in Colorado. Number 3. Molly Brown House Museum. The life of Margaret Tobin Brown, aka Molly Brown, is an intriguing one to say the least. She was one of the survivors of the Titanic and became known as the unsinkable Molly Brown. She purchased her new home, located on Pennsylvania Avenue in downtown Denver, in 1894, and was a longtime resident of the city. This Victorian home, now called the Molly Brown House Museum, features architecture, furniture, letters, and books from the early 1900s. And you can book a tour of the museum and explore all the history and stories that downtown Denver has to offer. It's been said that Molly Brown's spirit can be felt in the house, and many people have reported her spirit's activity there. Light bulbs often unscrew themselves, furniture sometimes gets rearranged on its own, and doors to the kitchen are said to open and close at will. The Molly Brown House is not only a great place for some authentic Colorado history, but also one of the most popular haunted places to visit in Colorado when you're looking for paranormal activity. Book your own tour of the Molly Brown House Museum and check it out for yourself. Number 2. The Stanley Hotel. Located in Estes Park, the Stanley Hotel is more than 100 years old, and it's full of history and strange happenings. The hotel is said to be haunted with a history full of ghost stories and creepy events. In fact, 4 different spirits are said to occupy the hallways that roam the corridors. Over the years, guests have said to hear the faint sound of children's laughter or mysterious footsteps in the passageway. Lights flicker at all hours of the day, and sometimes piano music can be heard coming from the empty ballroom. And of course, one of the most iconic stories to come out of the Stanley Hotel is of Stephen King's inspiration of the book turned movie The Shining, where he was said to have solidified the bones of the book in his single creepy night stay there. If you enjoy this sort of thing, you can immerse yourself in the dark history of the Stanley Hotel by staying in one of the hotel rooms or even booking one of their spirited night tours. These tours will take visitors on a walk at night through the grounds and darkest area of the hotel, including an underground tunnel. Number 1. Denver International Airport. If you are seeking out the most haunted place in Colorado, then there might be none better than the Denver International Airport. It's easy to get off the plane and you're in a purportedly haunted place, supposedly built on an Indian burial ground. Per normal. And I don't just mean being jinxed or cursed nowadays by the inevitably late flights and seemingly phantasmic lost baggage that seems to plague all airports. DIA seems special in not all the right ways. Starting with the iconic statue, Blue Mustang, or known by locals as Blucifer, adorns the entrance as you're driving in. This statue literally killed its creator and sculptor before it was ever installed. Denver International Airport has been riddled with conspiracies since being built in 1995. Secret tunnels, Nazi propaganda, Freemason cornerstone, underground post-apocalyptic government headquarters, biological weapons. The wild claims that come out of DIA are endless. So ghosts and haunted areas inside the airport aren't too much of a stretch. Feelings of unease and otherworldly presence is said to be felt in the terminals. Stories of guests taking elevators to only end up in some spooky, deserted level of the airport. Denver International Airport has many secrets and a haunted past that may never be fully uncovered. From Colorado prisons to epic ghost tours, these are just some of the haunted places that you may never want to visit in the Pikes Peak region. If you like spooky stories and ghostly visits, then Colorado has a historic adventure waiting for you.